Hey guys, I hope you are doing well. Some of you may know that I do energy healing, Reiki healing, shamanic healing. I work with orgone or scalar energy. Orgone energy is a type of scalar energy, so maybe you've heard one or both of those terms. And I work a lot with crystals. And my interest in all these facets of working with energy led me to write this book called Synergy, A Modern Healer's Guide to Complete Bioenergy Wellness. It's a great guide for getting to know a little bit more about energy and working with it. And one of the chapters in my book is about a practice called Soul Retrieval. And I wanted to talk a little bit about Soul Retrieval today because it's not just well known in our society because our modern society today is designed by systems that want to make money off of us in repeated cycles and maybe don't want us so much in touch with our spiritual nature and our spiritual side. And I mean, that's been unavoidable. People are getting more interested in that these days, and not through religious structures or systems, but through their own personal exploration, which is great. That's how we're naturally evolving, as we're becoming more interested in these things. And soul retrieval is a shamanic practice that has been practiced in many cultures throughout the world for thousands of years. And um, when, like, these control systems, there's people on the planet who want to control the masses, and that's obvious, especially these days. And today, they do it a lot through like media, controlling what people think, divide and conquer tactics, like trying to point out all of our petty differences instead of the ways that we're all the same, and trying to turn us against each other and frequencies, etc. It's a lot going on today, but back in the day, the main thing that they would use was religion. Was they took over religion and kind of use that as a means to get the masses under control. And so all the shamanic practices all over the world that were so prevalent in all these societies, pagan practices, etc., it's all related. Were pushed underground or just not as prevalent today, but they're making a comeback because we're getting back in touch with our spiritual nature. And the practice of soul retrieval, and this is to explain what soul retrieval is. So we know that we all have our sacred essence energy, our energy field, our energy body. And when we experience a trauma in our life, and it could be, you know, different for different people, but mainly it's something that's traumatic for you. And if it comes, especially as a shock, a piece of our sacred essence energy can leave our body, and it goes off into what's called the non-ordinary realms, which is, there's a lot going on that the human visible light spectrum can't see. And there's other realities, dimensions, etc. And so our sacred essence energy will flee to if they experience a trauma, to the non-ordinary realms, and they're receiving healing there. And if you but that can make us feel diminished, like a piece of us is missing, especially if we have like a major soul loss or many consecutive soul losses. And that can be caused by a major trauma, like, the loss of a family member, loss of a job, loss of a pet, anything traumatic for you can cause soul loss. Or if you're in a constant toxic environment where you're being belittled or abused, that can cause like constant soul loss. And then it's like you're depressed, you're anxious because you don't have all of your energy. And so ideally, what we need to do to help facilitate getting these soul pieces back because they flee because they're not getting something they need here in the environment, in your body and in your reality. Um, so what you need to do is address what caused it to leave. And of course, these things that happen, they're not always our fault or something we can control, but we can definitely, try to heal and move forward. And two things that I have learned over the years that I've been practicing soul retrieval on myself now, um, is that what will make a soul piece come back is really having compassion for that part of yourself. Is to, like, if you look back and think of yourself in that part of your life. It could have been in childhood when you were a teenager, it could have been last year, any time in your life where you were going through something and things weren't going great, and when you could have experienced soul loss. If you just send love and compassion to that part of yourself, that could prompt a soul retrieval, whether facilitated through a shamanic practitioner or on your own. On its own, it could come back. Um, but yeah, the practice of journeying and doing soul retrieval is a way that a shamanic practitioner can help connect you with that soul piece and help to facilitate it to come back. But it's more likely to come back and stay back if you've addressed the issue that made it leave. So let's say you've been in a toxic environment at your job and you're still at that job. It might not want to come back. You're in an abusive relationship, whatever it may be. So you want to try to fix that problem and address that wounded part of yourself. Like, give a lot of love to that part of yourself, and that will help to facilitate your soul retrieval. And if you're wondering how that works, yeah, a shaman or shamanic practitioner will go into a trance journey and through the mind go into the non-ordinary realms and connect with that soul piece and see if they're ready to return. And spirit animals are wonderful for connecting you with soul pieces. They're very helpful allies. Um, there's a lot more going on with plants and animals than our society would let you know too. They're conscious beings like we are, just at a different density. And that's all explained in my book too, The Law of One chapter. So there's a lot of info in there, but today we're talking about soul retrieval. And something else I've learned in my practice over the years is that not only, like, if you want soul pieces to return, just have compassion for yourself in whatever part of your life you experience the trauma. And that's more likely to prompt your soul retrieval. And also, I've noticed that a more evolved part of yourself might come back really fast. That happened for me recently. I had a trauma where I had some soul loss this year, and it's like me this year is much more evolved than me 10 years ago, 20 years ago, what have you. So this piece of me from this year, where I've been doing these spiritual practices for many years now, after I initially got over the shock of the trauma, like a week and a half later, when I was starting to get back to myself and get into healing, the piece, when I went into journey, just came back. It was ready. It, just, it was a temporary soul loss because of the shock of what I was going through. But once the initial shock wore off, it was ready to return. So, yeah, if you want to learn more about soul retrieval, you can get my book, Synergy, A Modern Healer's Guide to Complete Bioenergy Wellness. And you can also book an energy healing session with me. And you can learn all about that on my website, wuwoman.com. I hope that was helpful today, because our society, it's really just they tell you, like, just pop this pill and mess with your physiology. And I'm not judging anyone. Yeah, I've had friends tell me that has helped them. It definitely didn't help me, but to each their own. But I think we really need to get more in touch with our soul and getting to know ourselves better, instead of engaging in all this stuff, all these distractions in the 3D reality where they want us, supporting this or that, or, at each other's throats about whatever conquest they're doing. It's like we need to just get in touch with ourselves, our soul. And if you work on healing yourself, you're definitely helping the collective. So don't feel bad about that. I hope that helps. Have a good day.